Good morning, Senator Wicker. How are you, sir? You're looking sharp.
Well, you're not looking so bad yourself. And yes,
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
we have a little spring in our step on the Republican side.
Glory,
this
glory,
week.
hallelujah. You know, I was reading a story here on Joe Manchin, and Manchin said, I just saw it to confirm, talking about the election, I just saw it to confirm we have a divided country. I hope it's a wake-up call for us. I'm concerned. I've been talking about our debt. I've been talking about our inflation. I've been talking about economic fallout from all of these bills. And I thought if Manchin is ever looking for a jumping-off place as far as the Democrat Party, this would be the time to do it. And, of course, he's in West Virginia, but what happened in Virginia would be the time. Your thoughts on that one? Do you think it's any chance that he would move over?
I don't know why he hasn't done it, but I don't think there's much chance of that. He sure is out of step with his state as someone who clings on to the Democratic Party. West Virginia voted for Donald Trump about 75 or 80% the last election. But so it's hard for me to figure him out. But let's just be thankful that at least so far he and Senator Sinema are standing up against this bill.
Absolutely.
Which would not only it would be cradle to grave socialism. I mean, really, paid family leave required of every employer from the beginning of life on through, and add a bunch of benefits that we never could get rid of. But also, it would repeal the best tax cut bill that we've ever seen in the United States, which is what we passed in 2017. Donald Trump signed into law. That's what gave us a great economy, and our economy was booming until the COVID hit. And of course, the pandemic is something in and of itself. But until that point, those tax cuts were working, and they will work again if we can fight to keep them in place. That's the most troubling thing about what the Democrats are trying to do this week.
I tell you what is also troubling to worry about how many people believe this when somebody like Psaki or the president or anybody else in the Democratic Party say, look how many more people are back to work than last year at this time, when you realize everything was shut down. Come on, you can't compare those two things. And they constantly use that as a point of success in this administration, and it's mind-boggling that you would have people who believe that.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what you do to create jobs is you lift the regulatory burden on job creators. And most of our job creators in America are small businesses. Most of the job creators in Mississippi are small businesses. And you lift the tax burden on them and let them take that extra money that they were sending to Washington, D.C. and hire some folks. And I'll tell you, I think one of the issues that maybe didn't get talked about so much in Virginia and New Jersey was inflation. I mean, when it cost you $80 to $100 to fill up your pickup, and we were not doing that a year ago. Clearly, the Biden energy policy is causing this. I mean, when you shut down the pipelines that we were going to use in the United States and make oil and gas scarcer, the price is going to go up, and it's starting to get cold up here in Washington, and people are going to start using heating their homes with natural gas all across Mississippi. It's just going to be a whole lot more expensive this year, and it is a self-inflicted wound caused by the Biden administration, because they want to make fossil fuels scarcer. At the same time, President Biden's on the phone to Saudi Arabia asking them to produce more. Well, how does that help the United States, and how does that help reduce carbon dioxide in the atmosphere? It's being produced elsewhere, just making it hard on Americans.
Just, and by the way, nowhere in private sector would you constrict your clientele, your client base, and then ask somebody else to take it over for you. We are sending more money or more gas now. I understand China is buying a tremendous amount of gas from us. I'm not sure if it's natural gas or what it is, but and then we're buying fuel from Russia. Is that right?
Well, and also Russia and China are not even going to go to this climate summit.
They didn't go.
I tell you, there's going to be a mad rush at 4 this afternoon, Paul, with Democratic senators rushing for the airports to get to Scotland for this climate summit. I don't know what the carbon footprint of all those airplanes is going to be, but they are absolutely thrilled to be going to this summit where China is not coming and Russia's not coming. And China just announced, very matter of factly, they're going to burn more coal because that's what they've got. Mm-hmm. And so anything that we might do is not really going to make a hill of beans.
But I mean, he basically said that he apologized for all of us in America, apologized to the people there at the meeting he was in, apologized for Trump doing this, and at the same time, as far as climate change is concerned, has mentioned that Russia's not going to show up and China's not going to show up. But man, we've got to take over this task ourselves. So somewhere down the line, I guess we're cutting them a check as along with everybody else. Let me go back to the infrastructure bill here. What's the very latest? What's the status on that?
Okay, well, of course, I'm all for infrastructure, roads, bridges, ports, water systems. But what they're wanting to pass today is about a $4 or $5 trillion what they call human infrastructure bill. Yeah, and it's a lot of new entitlements that the people are not even for. And I think, to me, what we saw in New Jersey and Virginia, it ought to be a wake-up call. And as I say, it's what they would do to help pay for it, which the president says costs zero. I mean, really, $4 or $5 trillion. We used to not say the T word much, but it's $4 or $5 trillion, and the president said it would cost zero. The cost is zero, and the American people just don't buy that. They just don't buy it. There's another thing I'm worried about, Paul, and I know we're going to be limited in time. I think we're about to have a workforce problem, I mean, the people of Mississippi as well as I do, and they're for personal freedom. The president of the United States and his administration are about to tell businesses over 100 people that all of your employees have got to be vaccinated. They've got to put a substance in their body that they might not feel comfortable about, and if they don't, they lose their job. And I'll tell you what, I was talking to one of our biggest manufacturers, came to see me at my office in Washington just yesterday. He employs about 6,000 people in North Mississippi and then all over the country, and half of his employees have not been vaccinated yet.
Can you
hold like as Americans?
Yeah, we've got a break coming up here, and I want to finish it. Hold on, I want to finish this thought because it also includes places like Ingalls and quite a few other places too, as far as that mandate is concerned. A little bit more with Roger Wicker coming back right after this. Now, he's been talking about this. Senator Roger Wicker is with us. He's been talking about this since May of this year, that he's recognized American families are hurting because of the gas situation, which I think is the number one thing out there that's of concern to most parents out there, most people out there. But here's a guy who said, you get one of these electric vehicles and you can go across the country on one tank of gas. I'll let you explain that one, Senator Roger Wicker. Go ahead, sir.
Well, Don't ask me to explain that. But yes, our president has cut off our pipeline, and he's told Russia that they can have their pipeline to Germany. It should be just the other way around. And then he's apparently that clip you just played, the president is blaming Saudi Arabia and the people across the Atlantic for the shortage in fossil fuels when he is causing a shortage of fossil fuels here in the United States of America. It just makes no sense whatever. And of course, price at the pump and the cost of heating is only part of inflation. I mean, everything else is going to go up, and I think maybe it was a secret issue Tuesday, and probably the most important issue, and the most important thing we need to get a handle on between now and the next election is try to do something about inflation.
This is a little concerning, though. Even if the Republicans win back the House and or the Senate, as far as midterms are concerned, what power do you have as far as correcting the gasoline situation, the fuel situation?
That's right. It's the administration that has the regulatory power. Now we have a way to bring regulations up and pass a resolution of disapproval, but the president can veto that. So yes, this administration is going to be 3 more years of a disaster in terms of those things.
Do you know if there are any more Americans, and specifically people with Mississippi connections, that are still in Afghanistan?
Well, I know there are more Americans in Afghanistan, and we have a team that works a great part of the time on that.
So that's we do.
Again, it's something that the world notices when the president says something and then either doesn't do it 2 or 3 days later, or has to walk it back the next day. I mean, he says we're going to defend Taiwan. Well, the White House had to walk that back. No, we're purposely ambiguous about that. He said we're not going to leave any American. We're not going to leave Kabul till every American is out. And then 3 days later, we're leaving hundreds of Americans there.
Apparently,
let me tell you, Hyde Smith and I are doing a press conference in a few minutes about this vaccine mandate on military members. So stay tuned about that. You may want to talk about that issue after the press conference. But our military is about to discharge thousands and thousands of brave servicemen and women when we need them. And so we're going to have a press conference about that. So stay tuned about that issue. But I am very concerned, Paul, about this mandate and what it's going to do to the workforce. We've got jobs that folks can't fill, and everybody watching and listening today knows that. And we're just going to make it worse because free Americans are not going to be told what they've got to put in their bodies if they feel uncomfortable with it.
Well, written quickly, we're almost out of time here, but this goes on the heels of Chuck Schumer not calling up the defense bill either. I mean, where's that stand?
Yes, we've done this for 60 straight years on a bipartisan basis. And we've got a good bill that increases military spending $20 billion more than the president would have done, and yet we can't get it to the floor. House has done it. From Afghanistan
to gas prices to the fiasco in Virginia, all the way back to when this guy was in college plagiarizing things, there has never been one single win. So what do people expect from Joe Biden? Look, we're out of time. I appreciate it, sir. We'll look forward to your press conference, and we'll have that on the air. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Roger
all right.
Wicker. Appreciate it.